Hey everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. And I am so excited about today's video because I received another package from Wild Eye Releasing. And I know what's inside here. This should be the next two titles from Visual Vengeance Video, which means I have some fantastically awful shot-on-video schlock in front of me, and I cannot wait to open this package up, check out the packaging itself, and then get to watching these. So I'll probably do this the same way I did it last month, where I will start with an unboxing of these items, and then move into a review of each of them, just to give you guys my thoughts on this and see if maybe it's worth your time. I will also mention the spine numbers 1 and 2. There's like a 40+ minute video here on the channel where I reviewed all of the packaging contents, the special features, the movies themselves. So definitely check that out if you've missed it. But today we're going to be looking at what I'm guessing is spine number 3 and 4 from Visual Vengeance, my new favorite boutique label. I love what they're doing and cannot wait to dive into these next two. So before we get into this though, guys, if you could hit that like button down below, that engagement really does help me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right in to my unboxing and review of the next two releases from Visual Vengeance. Alright, so we are all opened up now. Let me grab the first one here. Yes, here it is. This is LA AIDS Jabber. And I talked about both of these in my top 5 most anticipated releases of the month video, just because I really love what Visual Vengeance is doing. You can see this is VV03, so this is spine number 3. This one is actually already out by the time you're watching this video, because it came out early in the month of August. And so, yeah, beautiful cover art here. This is from, what year is this? This is 1994 is when this one came out. And it's another short one, 78 minutes long. So let me get this guy opened up so we can take a look inside. Alright, so the plastic is off, and look at that cover art. It is just so gorgeous. I love this slip cover. And I also mentioned, there was a deluxe edition, I think it was, whatever it was, that came with, like, an actual syringe, which is ridiculous. Like, I love that. Of course, you're not going to fit a syringe in this, so that's clearly not there. What? It is available if you're interested. Alright, so there's the inside. The cover art on the disc is the same as the slip cover. But let's take this off so you can see the reversible cover right there. I love that. So let's see, this is what? Because I know last time it was like the VHS cover art, and I'm not seeing it. Retro VHS stickers. Here it is. Reversible Blu-ray sleeve featuring original VHS art. So that's what that is as well. But yeah, so that's awesome. And then there is the booklet on the inside, which is always cool. So yeah, I think the special feature of this one, because the first one had a old movie rental card. The second one had it had a condom in it, that's right. This one I believe was the syringe, but that did not come with this release. So yeah, just know that that's out there if you're interested. So yeah, this looks awesome. We'll take a look here at the special features real quick. The archival SD master from the original tape source. There's a director's introduction to the movie. A lethal injection, the making of LA AIDS Jabber. So just a ton of special features on here. The liner notes are by Tony Strauss of Weng's Chop magazine. So that's cool. Very intrigued to check out the special features on this one, because that was the only part I wish was a little deeper on the last releases, were the special features. So first one up here is... Well, I'm dropping it. First one up is LA AIDS Jabber. Let me grab number 2. All right, and the second one here, I am so excited for this. This is Suburban Sasquatch, and look at that cover art. It is gorgeous. I love this slip. So this one is from 2004, which had me super intrigued because it's one of the newer, it's the newest of the releases so far. I think we've had one from the 80s, 2 from the 90s, and now one from the mid-2000s. And this was a time where, I was going to the movies all the time because I was in high school. I graduated in 04. So yeah, looking forward to checking out Suburban Sasquatch again. Beautiful, beautiful work on this cover here. And the reversible sleeve is the original home video art. So let's take a look at the custom art on the inside. That looks awesome. I think that's what I used in my anticipated releases video. So let's open this up and see what we have. So we have the stickers again. So yeah, those just come in every release. The slipcover art is mocked there on the disc as well. And then we have a pamphlet in this one by Rick Harlan, A Creature Among Us by Rick Harlan. And then it looks like this one has a full-blown poster which looks fantastic. I love this artwork. Like, I definitely need to frame this. I never do on these, but this is artwork that I would love to have somewhere in this basement here. So yeah, it is the cover art from the inside. And then, last but not least, let me get this disc out of here. There is the original home theater or home media cover art. I love that. Honestly, like, I might even flip this around on this one because that looks fantastic. Oh, that's right. This one also has the Riff Tracks version of the movie as a special feature, which is just going to be fun. I cannot wait to check this one out. So yeah, let me flip this around and show you guys real quick. I think I'm going like this because I think that just looks so awesome, and I don't know why. Like, it's so plain, but I love it. So yeah, this is really cool. I'm really excited to dive into both of these. So LA Age Jabber and Suburban Sasquatch. So now let me sit down. I'll start with LA Age Jabber just because that's spine number 3, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on that, and then I will check out Suburban Sasquatch. So let's jump over to the next part of this video. Alright, so it is now a few days later, and I've actually watched through both of these movies and the special features, so let's talk about them a little bit here. I will start with spine number 3, which is LA Age Jabber, or as it's known originally, just Jabber, which again, let me just show that amazing cover art there, because not only is this amazing, this like custom artwork, but the original VHS cover is just beautiful. I love this. So anyway, this one, just as a reminder, is from 1994, directed by Drew Godaris, excuse me. I practiced how to say that beforehand, and I still messed it up. But anyway, this is a movie about an individual who is a troubled guy. He ends up finding out at the beginning of the movie that he has the AIDS virus. Now again, 1994. This was filmed in and around, between like 92 and 94. So the AIDS virus was new and it was running rampant. It was a big, scary unknown at that time. Obviously, it was very prevalent in the gay community. And that's something they talk about a lot in this one, is that they like the fact that it was not a gay man who was contracted this virus. He actually ended up getting it through a blood transfusion, which they talk about it multiple times in the special features, but I don't remember that being in the film. At least I didn't pick it up. If it was, great for it. I just missed it. But anyway, yeah, so we follow him. He's already a disturbed guy because he goes to see a shrink, which doesn't make you disturbed. But in this case, he is. He has very particular feelings about women that they don't really elaborate on, but it's very clear that there's something going on here. So anyway, he finds out that he has the AIDS virus and then decides that he goes to kill himself, but decides not to do that, and instead puts together this list of people that have wronged him or that just piss him off for one reason or another, and decides to set out and give them his blood so that they will then have the death sentence of the AIDS virus. And he's basically like a serial jabber, I guess, if you will. But yeah, just a super screwed up premise. And one thing I'll talk about, like the idea here of doing this, not like, it's just in poor taste, frankly, like especially given when this film was made. And they talk a lot in the special features about how this was kind of, they knew it was taboo, but it's trying to, let people know to consider these individuals that have been contracted with the AIDS virus. They have feelings. They are real people. And it's like, well, duh. But 2, it doesn't cast that in a good light at all, because the one character in here who has the AIDS virus, at least in the start, is the guy who's then going to move on to be a serial killer, essentially. And so I understand like where they're coming from in the special features, but I don't think that's really the case at all. Like, I don't really see kind of, them holding this flag for the AIDS community. That's not at all what I see here. They're making a taboo horror picture, and that's really what this is. Super low budget. Now, this is, I don't really know what else to say about this one. The acting is terrible across the board. There are, it's funny when, again, in the special features, they talk about how great the main actress was playing like the lead detective in this, because we follow these 2 detectives who are chasing, trying to find the jabber. And then at one point, randomly, one of the detectives dies, and then she's partnered up with somebody else. It is the most random thing ever, but apparently what happened is that because it took so long to film, the guy who was playing the original detective, the original partner, just couldn't be in the movie anymore, and so they had to replace him with somebody else, so they added in this death sequence. It's just so utterly absurd.
And Stearns? He was killed as well.
And that's the other thing. I don't remember where I was going now, but that's the other thing I want to talk about with this one. It feels like, you know, it's an exploitation film, and it's going over the top and ridiculous, but then at points, it kind of like reels it in and tries to add in something completely unrelated to the Jabber story for, I don't know why. Like, it's just so out of place. For example, there is a scene where one of the other police officers asks our two main police officers to, like, basically do a hit on this guy, or, you know, rough him up because he is his wife's ex and he's threatening to take custody of the children again. Completely ridiculous and just, like, out of left field.
Impress upon him that my wife and me have had enough of his shit.
Another point, we meet our main female detective. She goes home for the first time, and we find out there's some, like, marital problems there because she's at work so often. And then again, the death of one of the detectives, just, like, so completely out there and makes no sense, has no bearing on the Jabber story at all, has no, like, through line to this Jabber plot line at all. It just felt completely out of left field. And so that was so strange. But I don't think it really hurts the movie at all. Like, it's not a good film, again, which is probably what I can say about every single Visual Vengeance release. But it's like those aspects of it didn't hurt it. It didn't slow it down too much. I thought it was kind of interesting that they brought those aspects into it. And it was just strange. That's like the best way I can describe this, is strange. And that's just really what this movie is. It is just odd from start to finish. It is mean-spirited. I will definitely say that. So, you know, in terms of kind of if I were to rank this amongst the other three that I've talked about so far from Visual Vengeance, I would probably put this at the bottom of the list because I don't think it's one that I would care to go back to, you know, multiple times. It is just, I don't know, like, our main actor in this, who you can see right here, like, he is just so angry almost the entire time.
Don't let my little secret out. You think that's gonna stop me, lady? You just got put on the hit list in the top slot. It's
so silly. It's just not well acted, which again, I'm not expecting that in this, but like, it's just so goofy. He's actually, the main character was only 17 years old when he was filming this, which is just so ridiculous. But, yeah, so I don't really know what else to talk about the movie. Like, it's not quite as fun as the other two. It is a bit more mean-spirited. The whole premise here of some guy running around and infecting others with AIDS is just so, wow. So I don't know. Again, amongst the other three, I'd put this one towards the bottom of the list. It was entertaining, but not quite as enjoyable as some of the others have been. So those are kind of my thoughts on LA AIDS Jabber. Getting the slipcover back on here now, let's talk about this Blu-ray release itself. On the AV side of things, and again, there's a warning at the beginning of the movie saying, hey, this was the best we could do, and we still think you're going to enjoy it. So this is archival SD master from the original tape source. That's what we're looking at. It looks atrocious. It looks so bad. I mean, literally, there are shots where all you can make out are like figments of light because they filmed it in, you know, LA at night, and you just literally can't see anything. Of course, this was shot on video, and it looks terrible. Like, I don't know how to sugarcoat it. It just looks bad. Literally could not tell what was going on at points in the scenes, even when it was more than just like a cityscape shot. It was, you know, two actors in the scene. Like, at points, I just couldn't tell what was going on. And they do film a decent amount of this at night, and it just looks terrible. It is what it is. I guarantee you it's the best it's ever looked, but it still looks absolutely horrendous. On the side sound of things, I didn't notice anything too terrible. I was able to catch the dialogue for the most part in this one, so no real complaints there. I don't even know what the audio track on this one. Oh, it's a Dolby 2.0 track, so nothing really to write home about. It was fine. I think the audio holds up a lot better than the visual side does, because, oh boy, the visuals on this were just bad. And like I said, they do give a warning that it's, you know, the best we can do. And actually on the back here it says, we've created the following Blu-ray using the best source materials available, which includes SD tape masters. It's the result of the original source material. So it's as good as it's ever going to be. And that's just how it is. So you come into this, like movies like this were made to be watched on VHS. So getting to see this on Blu-ray, it kind of gives that same experience because the like visual quality is not that much better. So, you know, it is what it is. It's fine. It's just you're not going to enjoy the visual presentation on LA Age Jabber. The special features, on the other hand, is a whole nother story. So if you guys watch my review of Spine number 1 and 2, the Japanese Evil Dead and the Necrophiles, my biggest complaint there on that Blu-ray was simply that the special features were relatively lacking. And they make up for it tenfold here. So LA Age Jabber has a ton of special features. There's no way I can go through all of them, but there are a couple commentary tracks. There's one with the director and then a couple other individuals. One of them is from Visual Vengeance. Maybe they both are. I don't remember. But that was pretty decent because the director is able to give you some knowledge about the film and the locations and what was going on with the actors. And you also have that banter back and forth. So I did appreciate that. And then there is a introduction to the movie, which is super short, just him saying thank you. The director does a ton of work on the special features here. He has the commentary track. He has the introduction to the film. He does an on shot or like a location shooting for, you know, today versus back then. So you get to see a lot of the places where he shot in LA. He kind of tours the city, gets to go into some of the apartment units that they used to film. The people were nice enough to let him in. So I'm not the biggest fan of like on location set, or I don't even know what you call those. Location tours. That's what I'm searching for. I'm not the biggest fan of those, but I thought this one was done relatively well for what it was. On top of that though, there are just a ton of interviews. There is a nearly 30-minute interview with our main actor, which like, yes, that's awesome. That makes me very happy because like these, if you look at their IMDb credits, most of these people, the director included, did not go on to do much else. And so, of course, they're going to remember their time shooting LA Age Jabber. And he has 30 minutes almost of a discussion about doing it. And some of the stories he tells were just genuinely entertaining. Like, I liked watching that quite a bit. There is the cinematographer, Rick Braddock, is in here as well, talking about kind of his approach to the cinematography of this movie, which, again, after you watch the cinematography, you're like, it's just entertaining to see him talk about it in such like a serious way because it meant something to him, and I loved that. There's so many special features on here. I like I said, I won't mention them all, but I will put up some shots so you guys can see everything that is included on this release. I was super impressed by the special features here. So that alone, I think, makes this worth picking up. Like, if you've seen this movie in the past and really enjoyed it, you're gonna really enjoy the special features that are on here. You know, nothing like too crazy revelatory, but it's still entertaining to watch these people reminisce way back when about this movie they did when they were much younger. So I really enjoyed the special features on this one, and I'm so happy that there was just more meat to the bones on these than there was on the first two releases. So really appreciated that aspect of this release. So kind of wrapping everything up for LA Age Jabber, this one is, like I said, probably my least favorite of the three I've talked about so far, but there's still something here to, you know, entertain you. So if this is the type of film you're looking for, then you're still probably going to be pleased. Another one that's just going to be better with friends as opposed to me watching it by myself in my basement, you know. The Blu-ray aspects of it, the AV side, not good at all. But again, the best that Visual Vengeance could do, so I don't blame them for that at all. It just is what it is. The special features, on the other hand, are really great. So overall, I will give LA Age Jabber, the Blu-ray release from Visual Vengeance, 3 out of 5 stars. So let's jump now 10 years into the future with Spine number 4, which is Suburban Sasquatch from 2004. This is, now I'm going to try to say the director's name, and I literally just got done watching the special features on this where they've said his name 100 times, and I still don't know if I'm saying it right, but I believe it's David Wascovich. So this is a just absolutely insane movie as well, but so much more entertaining and enjoyable than kind of the mean-spiritedness of LA Age Jabber. We are following this, like, man, how do I even explain this movie? So obviously we're following this Sasquatch in rural Pennsylvania is where we are, and he is killing people left and right. And we end up following this woman who is this Native American who is connected to the earth and the land, and basically it's her job in life, her mission in life, to destroy this Sasquatch. Along with that, we also have a wannabe journalist, or I guess he's a journalist. He writes for a local newspaper, but he's trying to make it big. And he knows that there are these Sasquatch attacks going on that the police are trying to cover up. So him and one of his police buddies, who happens to be his friend, so his friend's letting him know that these Sasquatch attacks are happening. And so he's trying to figure out what's going on so that he can write this big story and hopefully win himself the Pulitzer. At least that's his goal. So, I mean, that's basically what we're dealing with here. And right from the beginning, you kind of have a great idea of what you're getting into with this movie. The CGI on this is just the most absurd CGI you could ever imagine. There's no attempt at all to make it look realistic. They're literally pulling limbs off, and it's just like bones flying over your screen. Like, it is so silly, and it's hysterical. Like, I loved that aspect of it. Right from the opening scene on this one, I just knew this was going to be a lot more fun than the last one was, and I'm so glad that I was right, because that kind of continues throughout the entire thing. There are very few practical effects used. Mostly it's just like blood on a shirt or redness on a shirt. But there are a couple where like you pull a head off and it's like, well, they used a practical effect for that? Like, why that? But not a net over the Sasquatch at one point is literally CGI, and it looks like hilariously awful.
All right. Good job, boy.
I don't know why some of the decisions were made to go the routes they did on this movie, but oh man, it is like my life is all the better for it. Here's another one for the original cover on this. So this one is really interesting because of the history. So this was released originally on like a 6-pack DVD, and that's how people kind of heard about it. And then I think it was from a 6-pack of like other low budget horror films. It went to like a 50-pack. I think it was one of those Mill Creek sets, if I'm remembering right, and kind of gained popularity from there. And now, of course, it has this incredible Blu-ray release from Visual Vengeance. So just the history of how this film kind of came about is interesting as heck to me. And there is a riff tracks included on here too, so another way that it got kind of infamous as the years went on. That said though, this movie makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, there is so much that's left unexplained. The Sasquatch is 100% supernatural. He is able to just like disappear and then appear right in front, like he'll be walking towards you and then he disappears, and then all of a sudden he appears in front of you and he's killing you. Like, it's just insane. He grows taller at some points where he's not as tall at other points. There's literally one spot where he's dragging this woman away, and I think they like forgot to put on his Sasquatch attire on his feet that day because it's CGI like feet. Like, it is just so ridiculous and over the top, but it is quite bloody, which is always fun, even though it's like CGI blood squirting everywhere, which doesn't look realistic. The outfit itself looks kind of insane because there's like a huge appendage down below, which it's like you don't see it that often, but it's there and it's hilarious. It reminds me a little bit of the Necrophiles, except it was much more prevalent in the Necrophiles than it is here, but still utterly absurd, and that was just funny. I like the acting on this one again is terrible across the board. Our two cops are probably the best of the film, and they're not the best either. Like, they're not great, but it's fun. Like, they're doing their best and they're having a good time. They film this, of course, like on the weekends and at night as like a side project. And so it is what it is. It's just a group of friends who got together or whatever the case is, and they made this movie. And so it's just fun to watch. But yeah, it is very of its time, like very mid 2000s. The CGI on this reeks of the mid 2000s. I was actually watching listening to the commentary track, one of them, and they're talking about actually the CGI is not that bad for the year this was released when you think about it, which I don't. They say you'll see some worse CGI in Hollywood movies. I've never seen worse CGI in Hollywood movies, to be frank. But hey, maybe they just watched more movies than I have and they know better than I do. But yeah, so I mean, like, just in terms of this movie, it is absolutely one that needs to be watched with friends, needs to be watched with, alcohol or whatever the case is, because it's fun. It is hilarious. Now, I will say, it did drag a little bit for me. It did get a little bit long. Like, this is 100 minutes, which is long for one of these Visual Vengeance releases. Usually they're like sub 80 minutes for the most part. And so this at 100 minutes did feel a little bit long. And yeah, it probably could have cut out some of the dialogue because Oh my gosh, the dialogue on this is just insane. And this is another one. I think that's really all I have to say about the movie itself. It is so much fun. It is dreadful, but it is dreadful in the best possible way, which is the best compliment I can give it. I had a great time with Suburban Sasquatch. So touching on the Blu-ray release itself, let's talk about the AV first. And when you go from LA Age Jabber over to Suburban Sasquatch, it's like a whole new world, man. What a difference 10 years make when it comes to shooting on video. But so this is another one where it has a disclaimer. We've created the Blu-ray using the best source materials possible. And this one is from archival 2004 SD masters from the original tape source. And it looks so much better than I would have hoped it to look. I didn't have any problem seeing what was going on in every scene. Yeah, some of the scenes are dark. That's just the way it's going to be given how they were filming. They didn't have a ton of lighting, I'm sure. Most of it's going to be natural lighting, but still, I thought it looked just fine. I had no real issues with it. Like, it's not going to look like any of these movies behind me, of course, on Blu-ray, but it does look, again, the best it's ever going to look, and I think it looks totally fine here. So, on the audio side, though, there I did have some issues. So again, we are rocking a stereo track, so a 2.0 track on this one as well. But I did have some issues with the dialogue. There were some moments where I lost it, and I don't blame like the production of the Blu-ray. I think it's just the way it was filmed, because again, it's like a person looking away from the camera and talking. And clearly that's, the microphone is at a certain point and they're looking away from it, they're talking, and then they come back and you can hear them again. And so I think they probably did the best they could. Maybe they could have upped the volume at certain points so that it was more level across the board, but that didn't happen. And so there were moments, only a couple, maybe a few, where I was losing a little bit of that dialogue. So that was a little bit disappointing, but other than that, I thought it sounded fine. But again, just the only notable thing on the audio side was that I did lose a little bit of the dialogue, maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the entire film. So let's talk about the special features, and the first thing I want to talk about here is what's promoted on the back of the box. There is the Riff Tracks version of Suburban Sasquatch. So I didn't really know how Riff Tracks was presented. Like, I've seen Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they have like the characters at the bottom. They have all these skits in between. That's not what Riff Tracks is. It's basically like a podcast almost, where you could like listen to it and sync it up with the movie and watch it. But it is scripted comedy. As they're going through it, they're making fun of the movie or just kind of, making jokes based on the film, and it's really just a third audio commentary track. There is an introduction, like they have the Riff Tracks introduction, but then it's just the movie playing and it's them, talking over it with their scripted jokes. So this will be hit or miss. Some of the jokes were pretty funny. Some of them were just not. I don't know. If you are a big Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, you might get a kick out of the Riff Tracks version a little bit more than I did, but it's really cool that it was included because it's not something I would have thought to be here. So I really liked that aspect of it. And then there are 2 other commentary tracks. So on the back, it lists a 2021 commentary by by the director. But it's not just the director. There's actually his wife, who was like a producer on the film, and 2 of the actors, the main actor and one of the police officers in the film. And so I feel like that should have been advertised in the back because it makes for a more enjoyable commentary when there's more than one person. Now, the fact that this was recorded in 2021 kind of blows my mind because the audio quality on it is terrible. It's like they called in with their cell phone and were filming and recording it that way. It didn't sound good at all, but I was able to make out what they were saying. Now, a couple nitpicks with that. There is a lot of over talking at points, and there's a lot of gaps of silence, which I wouldn't expect when it's like that many people on one commentary track. So that was, it is what it is. I do love when a director does the commentary though, because they're just able to give more facts about the filming, so that was a cool aspect of it. And then just adding those other 3 in was fun too. So a pretty decent commentary track, but I really liked the other one on here. So it's from Sam Panico, of BNS about movies, and Bill Van Ryan of Drive-In Asylum. So I don't have any idea who those people are, but unlike some of the commentary tracks in the last 2 releases, this one is like, there is banter back and forth, but there's just a lot of facts that they throw out as well. They talked with the director beforehand to get some information from him, and they include some of that information in here. So I appreciated the kind of the work that they did before getting into the recording studio, and it sounded great too, sounded professional, unlike the other one. So I really enjoyed that commentary track. I'm not sitting down and watching these 4 times through. But what I did listen to each of these, that was my favorite of the extra commentary tracks. So I thought they did a really good job. Outside of the commentary tracks, there are quite a few special features on here as well in terms of like featurettes and interviews. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think all of them were done back when, though. None of these felt new. It was the director filming this stuff while he was making the movie because he wanted to have these special features whenever he had a DVD release. And so there is making of the CGI, how they did some of the CGI, super short, and then like 2 minutes. I would have loved to see more there, especially with some of the gore effects, but it is what it is. There was a featurette here with it was like making the Bigfoot costume. Another one they filmed before they actually started the filming and while they were making the costume. And watching the costume designer talk about like how seriously she was taking it is just so interesting, because the end result, you know, before you watch the special features, it's like, oh my God, this looks so silly. But then you watch the special features and you get just more of appreciation for what they were really trying to do, and they were taking it seriously. So that was interesting. There is like a director's diary. It's only one thing. I was hoping that was going to be a little bit longer and kind of go through filming, but it's only one static shot of him talking to the camera. That's most of it. Like, there is another couple other featurettes on there as well, including some trailers and things like that. But really, what's the meat of this is that riff tracks commentary plus the other 2 commentary tracks, which I think were done a lot better than the first 2 releases I talked about. So what's really cool is, like, with any of these, when you watch the movie, you just think, man, that's bad, and like, it's hilarious, or it's just, you know, not that great, whatever you're thinking. But then you watch the special features and like the people talking about these movies and the passion behind the movies, it just gives you a whole new respect for everything that was done on film. It humanizes things a bit more. And I think, you know, that worked really well here, and especially with LA Age Jabber, because I didn't really like it when I watched through it, but then watching the special features, I was able to appreciate it more and just enjoyed it more thinking back on it now, because again, just of the passion that's shown. So that's why I love special features. That's why they're important, is because they give context that you would never otherwise get. So that's what's really cool about these. And so, yeah, really enjoyed the special features on Suburban Sasquatch as well. So of the 2 releases today, definitely Suburban Sasquatch was my favorite. I would probably put this one at the top of my ranking order. It would probably go Suburban Sasquatch, and then Japanese Evil Dead, and then Necrophiles, and then I'd have to put LA Age Jabber at the bottom of my list, but still all enjoyable releases. So with Suburban Sasquatch, I loved the special features on here. The movie is just an utter blast to watch, and the commentary tracks I thought were great. The AV side is much better, excluding a few scenes where the audio I missed a little bit of that audio, just a bit. But other than that, I really enjoyed this one. So I'm going to give Suburban Sasquatch from Visual Vengeance 4 out of 5 stars. All right, so those were my thoughts on the 2 latest releases from Visual Vengeance, and LA Age Jabber is out currently at the time of filming, and Suburban Sasquatch is coming out very soon, so these will both be out, I'm thinking, around the time that this releases. So if these sound like something up your alley, definitely check it out. Visual Vengeance is doing such a great job giving us movies that we wouldn't otherwise get in the Blu-ray format, and so that is just super cool. I am so thankful to Visual Vengeance for sending these my way so I could share my thoughts on them with you guys, and I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Do you think that Visual Vengeance, are they the anti-boutique label like I called them on the last review of these? I think they are, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I say that, you know, in the best way possible. I'm really enjoying the releases, and I cannot wait to see more. Some of the trailers for the upcoming releases on these, they look amazing. There's one that has to do with aliens, and I have to watch that. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming next from Visual Vengeance. So I will link to these on Amazon down in the comment, or in the description below rather. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think of these 2? Are they something that you might consider picking up, or do they not sound like they're up your alley? Let me know what you're thinking about these and anything else really down in the comments below. I always appreciate all that support down there, so thanks so much for that. But as always, guys, if you enjoyed this one, please hit that like button down below. That engagement really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies, I talk all things media, be it books, movies, video games, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it, and if you are too, you might consider subscribing. Alright guys, so that's gonna do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching this one, and I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.